We all ride our bikes for different reasons. Some of us ride for the competition, others for the fresh air, some of us just to get out of the house. But nearly all of us can agree that it does have a positive impact on our health.
Cycling is also a sport that lends itself to weight loss, and after quite merry festive season, I'm maybe a few kilos heavier than I'd like to be. So therefore, I'm the perfect guinea pig to try out some different plans and see what works best when you're trying to pedal away those pounds, whether you've got a lot to lose or just a little bit.
So in this video, we'll be following Jack on his weight loss journey to see what works well, things to avoid, and giving some top tips on how to use cycling to stay healthy and happy. We've also enlisted the help of some coaches, so stay tuned for their recommendations on some serious fat burning sessions and tips on how to stay motivated. So then Jack, what are we starting with and what's the aim of the game?
Well, back when I was training very regularly, I was around 75 kilos, but as you can see, I'm not quite that figure now. I'm not sure how that happened, but...
Well, should we find out?
Yeah, well, according to my trusty £5 scales, I'm clocking in at around 86 kilograms, and let me tell you, that 11 kilos, that is not muscle, it's mostly beer and pasties, unfortunately.
Okay, so I've done my research and had a chat with some sports scientists, and they recommend that trying to drop more than 3.5 kilos per month is not going to be very healthy. So I think something sensible to target would be something like 3 kilos per month for 3 months. What do you reckon?
So that's a total weight loss of 9 kilograms, give or take, and that'll bring me back down to 77. So close to what I was when I was training regularly, and hopefully ready to drop some mates, maybe not you, but my mates, on some summer rides.
So a key cycling metric for anyone riding climbs at least is your power to weight ratio. That's usually expressed as watts per kilo. Now there's clearly 2 ways to approach improving this. Either you increase your power output, or you decrease your weight, or even better, both of them.
So losing weight too quickly, which I'm not in danger of, I promise you, that could result in muscle loss for cycling, and that could mean my FTP goes down. So therefore I'm not going to do any fad diets or trying to lose too much too quickly. And also why I'm doing this in the winter months, it gives me a bit of time to build back my strength before all those important summer epic rides.
Well, here's a little fun / depressing fact for everyone. A pro rider is capable of doing 5.5 watts per kilo for an hour. But if you want to win a Grand Tour, then you're more looking at doing about 6.5 watts per kilo for an hour. We maybe won't get into that sort of level. No.
Well, I think this is another important point, that like I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this with a view to look like a professional cyclist. That's not my aim, and that shouldn't be our aim, because we're not professionals. We don't have dietitians. I do suffer from early onset arthritis that's come on in my early 30s, which is rare, but it happens, and I'm not really the machine I once was, but I would like to get somewhere close to that.
And cycling is a great sport for someone like you with arthritis because it's low impact. So to help us create a plan that is not only effective but also sustainable and achievable, we've enlisted the help of Kieran from Clip Coaching. So let's see what he has to say and what you'll be getting up to in the next few weeks.
Really, it's a simple process. I say simple, I didn't say it's easy. So as with anything, training towards any goal, the number one thing is consistency.
I may have to have a surgery in the future, and I want to be as healthy and as light as I can be reasonably without, I can't do 10, 15, 20 hours of training anymore like I used to.
Being in better shape for a surgery, for example, and what the wanting to lose weight sort of to support that goal, which is a really, really strong goal, because that motivational drive is really, really high. Both stimuluses, cardiovascular and strength training, are very effective at burning calories, but not one is generally loads better than the other for caloric burn and weight loss. Generally, that's just determined by how long you can sustain an intensity for. On a bike ride, for example, partly just due to the nature of going out and riding a bike, you tend to be out there for at least an hour, maybe more, maybe 7 hours, on the weekend for some of us that are, quite keen on it. Your calorie burn and demand for that time frame, even if it's just an hour, is really high, because you're working for an hour. With the gym, typically it's a shorter session. So I think that's maybe where that sort of misunderstanding comes from, where you think, I'm only in here for 45 minutes or an hour. How can that possibly be as good for me as cardiovascular training. And that's the point, is that not one is better than the other. How you do them is much more important. So one of the misconceptions around fat loss is that you have to be working quite hard to do it. Research has kind of demonstrated that that's not really the truth, and that in terms of a heart rate zone, you're looking at between 55 and 65% of your max heart rate is sort of the sweet spot for oxidation of fat, lipolysis, and that's what these interval training sessions will put you up to. Is if you don't have an idea of where to start with nutrition, the first thing you need to do is get an idea of what you're currently doing, and the best way to do that is via these apps. I think this is the way I started, tracking my food. I was like, I've been told I need X number of proteins in a day. What's the protein? What am I eating now? Like, how far off that number am I, or whatever? Be 100% honest with yourself, because this is where not lots of people fall down, but it's a really easy trap to fall into, is the underreporting.
We say that like the healthiest way to lose weight is to do it in a way that is sustainable and habits that you're going to keep up for the rest of your life even. What's a healthy and sustainable way of not being as strict as I am being now, but then also realizing that every now and again I'm going to slip?
What I would say is the 80-20 rule is a fantastic thing to think about when thinking about food. And again, this is something that has helped me move personally from tracking everything I eat when I was maybe 18 or 19 and being quite obsessive with it, to now I don't track anything at all. When I build up to half Ironmans, and the week after the half Ironman, I say I'm on holiday from everything, from exercise, from food restrictions, from training times, from wake up times, like the lot. I literally give myself 7 days where I don't think like an athlete. And I'll always have written down before, in the next 2 months, what's there to sort of focus on? What can I look forward to? Like, is there a little event? Is there like a big training ride? Is there like a friend coming down to meet up with that will keep me in the saddle? Yeah. With weight loss, I'd say it's, you say, I want to be X number of kilos on this date. You get to that date, you achieved your goal, have a week off. Don't track, don't worry about what you eat. But then after the week, come back, get with a coach, or, refresh yourself on your own plan, make plans to get back in the routine.
So increasing your exercise intensity, duration and volume are all good methods of increasing your caloric expenditure without necessarily having to adjust your diet. In this way, we can increase calories out whilst maintaining or reducing calories in, and that equals weight loss.
The next question that we wanted to put to Kieran is, what sort of exercise is going to be best for burning fat? The simple answer is all of it.
Excellent. Yeah, so Kieran explained that despite what a Get Fit Quick or a 6 weeks to a six-pack advert might tell you, there is no one style of exercise training that is definitively better for losing body fat. He did add that fat loss occurs in the presence of oxygen at heart rate intensities of roughly 55 to 65% of your max. Now, the specific ideal percentage varies between individuals, but the take home from this is that the equivalent of light, moderate intensity exercise is what stimulates fat burn. So does this mean that Jack needs to be doing 2 hours a day on the turbo trainer? Well, luckily for you, no.
Ooh.
Kieran has made Jack a nice plan combining LISS, low intensity steady state training, HIIT, high intensity interval training, and resistance training, i.e. gym work. Well, we'd better cue a training montage, hadn't we?
Yeah, if I do any training, I hope I do. I should do, I need to.
Now, if you're like Jack here with a real life job, then long endurance rides aren't always going to be the answer. I think you might end up quite single if you try to do too many long rides, mightn't you, Jack?
Yeah.
Jack's plan therefore has 2 LISS sessions per week, both at the weekend. In a recent feature, we asked coaches whether it was better if you divided this time between the days, or whether you should aim to cram it all into one super ride on one day. The answer was that it didn't really matter. Just get the hours in however you find easiest.
During the week, I don't really have that much spare time for cycling, so taking my free time into account, Kieran has built in some shorter, high-intensity sessions. Workouts of this nature typically involve short, very intense bursts of effort, followed by longer rest periods. The aim here is to work well above what you can sustain, stopping just before total exhaustion sets in. Obviously, in these workouts, your average heart rate may be 80 to 90% of your max. So how is this a fat burning workout? Well, the magic happens in the 24 to 48 hours post-workout, and the benefits are twofold.
Firstly, resting heart rate will be elevated to lipolysis levels. Studies on HIIT have revealed that a thermogenic after effect where subjects remained in a fat-burning heart rate zone for up to 48 hours post-workout.
Number 2 is the anabolic spike. Now, the explosive nature of HIIT workouts also gives you a nice muscle building boost. In response to exercise of this nature, the body floods the system with HGH, human growth hormone, and upregulates protein synthesis and testosterone production. Repeated exposures to this stimulus will lead to a more muscular body composition, and a more muscular body burns more fat at rest, as muscle is a living tissue.
HIIT sessions might be a bit sweaty, but again are easy to complete on the bike. Jack, for example, has been completing them before and after work on the turbo trainer. You could just as easily complete them outside as the weather picks up though. Find a quiet hill or road and bash out your high intensity efforts there. To throw in a bit of variety, Jack's plan also includes 2 resistance training sessions per week. In other words, the gym. Kieran says that every endurance athlete should be resistance training for a myriad of reasons. One of these is body composition. The goal of any strength training program is to increase muscular mass and capability. In attempting to do so, not only do we have a workout that increases daily calorie burn significantly, but we also change the composition of the body.
Adding muscle mass is not only good for strength and power, but it also raises your metabolic rate. This is how quickly your body burns through calories at rest.
Losing weight is often overcomplicated, but at its essence, it's a very simple process. To lose weight, you need to be at a calorie deficit, and that is best approached with a healthy diet and regular, sustained exercise. In our case, cycling.
Riding can increase your activity level, burn calories, improve heart health, and grow your fitness. Aside from these benefits, riding a bike is just good fun. However, the key to losing weight isn't just riding a bike. Combining a healthy diet with cycling is vital for success.
So in conclusion, what can we take away from this? I reckon don't focus on the numbers too much. Take a rugby player, for example. They're mostly clinically obese, and it doesn't mean they're unhealthy. I don't want to have one fight me.
Also, as I've discovered, you can't expect to lose weight just by cycling. No matter how hard or how long you ride, if you don't control calories, you simply won't lose weight. You have to do both exercise and intake control to lose weight, and intake control requires self-control. A fad diet, that's exactly that. It's a fad. It might produce short-term results, but in the long run, a healthy diet with regular exercise is the way forwards.
And finally, try not to focus too hard on weight loss, but instead on a healthy lifestyle and cycling pleasure. If you love your cycling and mix it up with different sessions that stimulate and motivate you, then you're more likely to keep doing them, and that is the key. Well, we hope you found this video useful, and if you've got any tips for Jack on how to keep the weight off, then drop them down in the comments section below. If you like this video, then as always, please drop us a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you for the next one.